Our institution of government has always been to protect the rights and liberties of citizens in a democracy. And one of such is the right to choose who to govern and how it is done. The level of government closest to the people and responsible for serving the political, social, and infrastructural needs of the grassroots, the local government. Sadly, local government administration in Nigeria is being stifled in some cases, grounded by the overbearing disposition of governors in some states. Many states no longer hold local government elections, but what we see is the appointment of loyalists to oversee affairs on behalf of the state, at the detriment of development and general well-being of the populace. This edition of Dateline 360 will take a holistic look at local government autonomy in Nigeria. The local government system, considered as the bedrock of democracy, is designed to play a vital role in ensuring the functionality of democratic institutions. However, a weak or non-functional local government can pose a threat to democracy. The 1979 Constitution recognized the importance of local government, having granted it a distinct character. In this report, Ifeoma Ojinta sheds light on the roles and significance of local government in the federal system of government.
Local government councils play a vital role in providing fundamental needs of the people, which includes primary health care, adult and vocational education, security, and support to economic growth in the society.
The local government is meant to provide administrative laws, so drainage laws, deal with municipal issues that you don't necessarily need the state authority or the federal authority rather to intervene.
The chairman of local government knows the problem of their locality. They understand the problem of their area. These are the people that deal with the local chiefs. These are the people that deal with farmers. They'll deal with all people within them.
In Nigeria, despite being the closest tier of government to the people, local governments are perceived as weak, with their powers stifled by state governments. This is despite the federal government's interventions aimed at ensuring their full autonomy.
We must ensure local government autonomy, and as a civil society leader, I support the federal government in suing, the state governors and to get the judiciary to help us to translate our constitution so that local government can have powers and can meet the aspiration and needs of the people.
The state houses of assembly was empowered by Section 7 of the 1999 Constitution to legislate for the local government. These observers say has reduced local government powers, sparking diverse opinions on their performance.
There is no mention of local government autonomy in the 1999 Constitution, even though it agrees to the existence of local government, and there was no even mention of local legislature. And that is why under the 1999 Constitution, the state thought that they had a kind of limitless power and control over the local government.
Parliamentary and this most expensive democratic system of government are never the same. I think everything around the parliamentary system is all revolves around the local government. Okay, once you get elected at your local level, you go to the parliament, and that is where the governance also begins, because it's from the parliament that prime ministers get appointed or elected by their members. So, as far as I'm concerned, I think we're operating something that is very, very new to us. All right, from independent that we started having parliamentary system, if we have allowed it to grow, right, it will have, reduce a lot of cost of governance, and then give us also an impactful leadership that we so desire for ourselves.
Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation, has 774 local governments, with the Federal Capital Territory having 6 area councils and 62 wards. Past and present leaders of these area councils claim to have provided basic amenities, but are faced with challenges related to funding and autonomy.
Since I experienced it, more often, most of the local governments are living up to expectations, except for reasons that likely that had to do with some issue that militate against funding or what have you. And then, of course, if you say they are not living up to expectation, lacking expectation could also be as a result of or factored by the usual governors' stifle part of their determination never to allow local government to function.
We in the FCT, our allocation comes to us, and all the 6 area council are really working. I will say this, that local government autonomy is everyone's prayer, more especially all the local government chairmen. Because if local government are given this priority of having this autonomy to govern their locality, I think that will bring more development in the rural areas.
A local government administration, especially in the area councils of the FCT, are far better than in other places. But again, there is a paradox in infrastructure development.
And as the federal government pushes for full autonomy of local governments, which directly impacts the people, many await a positive outcome from the Supreme Court's judgment on this matter. For Dateline 360, Ifoma Ojinta.
In the pre-colonial and early post-colonial Nigeria, local government councils were the pride of the locals. It created presence of government at the grassroots. Coming from the past, Mayor Ogidi's look at autonomy and decentralization in the governance process of local government system reveals that a lot may have gone wrong.
From autonomous entities in village and clan governance in pre-independence Nigeria to native authority regime under colonial era, where it operated as a structure of the system, then at various times in the evolution of post-colonial Nigeria, the local government functioned as administrative councils with some positive impact. It has therefore presented a bag of expectations and realities, simultaneously attracting admiration and loyalty. These were the good old days of the beauty of local government system in Nigeria. But there seems to be an increasing rejection of the local government system since the return to democracy in 1999. Why?
Because there is no financial autonomy. Almost 98% of the local government area in Nigeria are underdeveloped, are poverty-ridden. There is no structure, there is no development.
Local government, the hope of the locals in Nigeria, but that hope is dashed because, like a persistent virus, lack of autonomy and decentralization of powers, no thanks to our elder brother, as it were, that is the state, has crippled the strength of local governments in Nigeria. The 1999 Constitution has its own share of the blame in the sorrows of the local government system in Nigeria. Section 7 gives autonomy to the local governments, while Section 162, subsection 6, joins the revenue of states and local governments. The beginning of the troubles of local government in Nigeria.
Nigerians must insist that Section 7 of the Constitution and several decisions of our court on the autonomy of local government be respected. And finally, the Accountant General of the Federation must resume the monthly publication of the statutory allocations of the 3 tiers of government.
It is basically a moral issue now because the people at the grassroots are suffering. And when the government closest to them, which is the local government, is not functioning, then this is where we continue to have, issue of poor governance.
Change of focus to the core mandate of local government, which many suggest is service delivery rather than chasing phantoms of democracy and independence. The journey to change this half-hearted trial of local government system in Nigeria to a full-fledged one is on speed.
If the local government are not free And leaders, don't hang on to the number. We have 774 local governments. It's just a number. Is it effective? Is it reaching the real people? Who is being held accountable for this money?
The last administration had tried by way of directing direct remittance from the federation account to the local governments. Yes, that has happened, but what happens? It is back-cycled. They are given directive from the state to actually recycle those funds.
The only solution to local government autonomy in the current constitutional arrangement is to revisit Section 162, subsection 6, where there is a joint account for local and state governments. Until that account is separated in the true sense of it, local government autonomy will going to be a mirage in the country. Mayor Okedi for Dateline 360.
Do you know that in the last 3 years, only 1/3 of the 36 states of the Federation conducted local government elections in Nigeria? This is a breach to the 7th section of the 1999 Constitution as amended, which guarantees election of local government administrators. National Assembly correspondent Joshua Ogunjide examines roles of local government and its constitutionality in the Nigerian polity.
Local government system in Nigeria has its antecedent in the pre-colonial era, when each of the separate communities that make up today's Nigeria was administered in what has been vividly described by scholars as provincial, kingship, and empire systems. Despite incessant reforms over the years, the principal constitutional role of local government is to provide a platform for people to conduct their own affairs in line with local needs, aspirations, resources, and customs which they alone understand better.
My participation in the local government, still under the military regime, there was total autonomy of local government. We used to go and collect our check directly from what they call government pay office. You pay your teacher salaries, run the administration of the local government from that pay check. And in most times it was about 3 million, 4 million naira, to run the local government. And people didn't complain. And there were duties, conferred on local government, like issues of collection of certain types of taxes, bicycle, this, that, signage, and so many responsibilities, conferred on local government.
In the last 3 years, however, few states of Katsina, Gombe, Kaduna, Borno, Sokoto, Adamawa, Yobe, Kebbi, Plateau, Niger, Ekiti, Oyo, Edo, and Ebonyi were the only set of subnationals that have conducted local government elections. Alleged political dominance and interference, however, have been identified as what some state governors put forward in disregard of the 1999 Nigerian Constitution as amended in matters affecting local government.
Heads of local government cannot handle the affairs of council, especially finances. And that brought about this issue of joint account between that of the local government and the states, where money will first go to the state before it is given to local government to carry out. Where checkmating, according to what they said, is being checkmate to ensure that funds are given to where it's supposed to be given. But let me also say, the same Nigerians that are running state government affairs, the same Nigerians that are running federal government affairs, are the same Nigerians running that of the local government. We are all aware that in most cases, EFCC arrests persons both in the states, in the local government, and in the federal. Now, because these are agencies that are being put in place to checkmate anything that has to do with fraud as far as local government or area, states or federal is concerned. That's likewise ICPC. So those agencies are expected to carry out their due functions. If such impactment takes place in local government, it is left for the agencies that have already been established by government to ensure that those persons that are involved in such do not have their way.
Recent events where local governments are run by appointed caretaker committees leaves much to be desired. How constitutional is this trend that seems to be a norm to state governors?
Section 7 of the Constitution Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, has guaranteed the existence of local governments. And those guarantees are tied to election. That the people who are going to run the local government system are to be elected. Then when you go to the first schedule of the Constitution, paragraph 7 equally has listed the duties and functions of the local government.
If INEC then starts to conduct those elections, will those things that we complain about, will they stop? I'm not sure. However, if it will give some level of confidence to participants in elections, both the candidates and the people that vote for them, if they believe that, look, INEC conducting elections will have more confidence in the outcome, so be it. Because for me, the voice of the people is the voice of God.
It's only FCT that is practicing financial autonomy. But both administrative autonomy and the financial autonomy, states are not enjoying. What we are saying and what we are crying for, since it's one logo we are carrying as Norge, we are saying that what is applied in FCT should be applicable to other states.
The Speaker, House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas, maintained at the recently concluded Open Week that the 10th Assembly, under his leadership, has taken steps aimed at actualizing constitutionally recognized roles for traditional institutions and the autonomy for local governments in Nigeria. In furtherance of the objectives of the Green Chamber, 2 special standing committees have been set up to drive the process of actualizing constitutional autonomy. In Abuja, Joshua Ogujiri, NTA News.
Fiscal, political, and administrative autonomy are the necessary requirements for the third tier of governance, which is known as local government. Analysts are, however, of the opinion that the challenge lies upon the interference by state governors into the administration process of local government in Nigeria. In this report, correspondent Mariamu Bala takes a look at the situation.
With a population of more than 200 million people, Nigeria is recording various agitations calling for an end to the state governors' interference into the local government system. The issue is no doubt undermining the constitutional responsibility of this third tier of governance.
The essence of creating local governments is to bring government closer to the people. But what we are seeing today is merely what normally we call within the academic cycle as local administration, because it's just signifying the fact that local governments in Nigeria today are mere appendages of state governments. There are certain lacunas, so to speak, that the governors are taking advantage of. One, the Constitution, if you look at Section 7 of the Constitution, clearly says that local governments should be manned by democratically elected chairmen.
My candid opinion, the vibrance that is expected of the local government administration, if it is really desirous, or rather if we really desire to have it, we'll have to revert back to the provision that state that there are 3 tiers of governance in the country, meaning the federal, the state, and the local government. And the autonomy that is being granted to the federal government without any interference, same autonomy that the states enjoy, should be given to the local governments.
It is unconstitutional for local government to be administered or managed by caretaker committees. The proper thing is for them to have a democratically elected leadership at local governments.
Analysts are of the opinion that independence of the state electoral commissions are in doubt, as the outcome of the state electoral processes are in turn affecting the implementation of developmental projects at the grassroots.
Independent electoral commissions at state levels, they have the mandate and the constitutional power to conduct local government elections.
When you look at it, you will realize that governors are so much interested in trampling the right of the autonomy of the local government by the factor of having the needed fund they want, so that they will carry out whatever they will want to do without being, having any kind of financial, shortages.
Let INEC, being the electoral umpire of the whole country, conduct local government election thereby allowing people with the opportunity, to elect the people they so desire at the local government, as embedded in Section 197, subsection 1, paragraph B of the Constitution.
For the democratic dividends to be realized in all the country's 774 local government areas, Nigerians are now seeking the autonomy of the constitutional independence of local governments. In Bauchi, Mariam Bala for Dateline 360.
Critical stakeholders and legal practitioners in Rivers State are raising concerns over the impediments to local government autonomy. They argue that political interferences, corruption, and systemic electoral malpractices have significantly hindered the progress and independence of local governments in Nigeria. Gabriel Amunike, who spoke with some of them, will now bring us details.
One major function of the local government is to provide essential public services. Our country can't be fully developed when the local government is not functioning properly, because local governments are critical for addressing community-specific needs. Local government autonomy is an issue that has been on the front burner for decades, yet without decisive outcomes. This has largely been due to the complex nature of interest in that tier of government. Elections are crucial in legitimizing governance at the local government level that leaders are chosen by the people they serve. This democratic process enhances accountability, transparency, and responsiveness to the needs of the community. To ensure local government autonomy succeeds, there have been efforts to foster collaboration between federal and state governments. These include legislative actions, judicial interventions, and policy initiatives aimed at safeguarding the democratic process and ensuring fair and transparent local government elections. The recent Supreme Court case on the issue at hand, led by Justice Karuba Lawal, is a pivotal example of such efforts, aiming to enforce constitutional provisions and ensure direct funding to local governments.
Autonomy of local government is good. The state government is autonomous, they get their money, and the federal government they get their money, the local government should also get their money. But, like I said, the kind of local government we have now, there need to be laws to curb the excesses of.
That section of the law is that local government is a separate arm of government. Ordinarily, the money that comes from the federal government account to the local government are supposed to go straight to the local government. But because we're in a system where, should I say, politicians have now seen it that it is their right to begin to hold the money that belongs to the local government by themselves. And so they disburse this money to the local government. Ordinarily, the money is supposed to go from the federation account right down to the local government, wherein the local government chairman will now use money for their own infrastructures.
If you delve deeply into the Constitution, you find the Constitution giving the state government the power to conduct local government election. You see, where INEC was established, that's in Rivers State, it is RISEC. So that tends to put the powers to marry it with that of the state. We are talking about financial autonomy. I think it is being practiced. There is nothing wrong for both parties from the states to check the excesses of our local government chairmen.
Some stakeholders in Rivers State who spoke to NTA News say that irregularities in local government elections, such as the appointment of caretaker committees and manipulation of election results, severely undermine the autonomy of local government areas and weaken democratic governance.
The governors will not allow the people to operate because they want to see local government chairmen as an appendage to them. And you know the way the things are run now. So if you say autonomy, you are not doing anybody any favor. You are doing the citizenry a favor because it's already in the Constitution. The people should, the reason for local government is that government is closer to the people. But they have what you call the elitist governance, where you do in the state capitals and the national capitals.
In the 1976 local government reform, that was where the idea came to bring the 30 year of government very closer to the people. However, the autonomy is so important so that they will begin to know how to maximize the money that comes there, know how to look at development in different shade. Let me also say quickly, the last administration, Buhari, did sign an executive order also authorizing what we call financial autonomy. That one was financial autonomy, but this one is both financial autonomy and administrative autonomy. So I think it's going to be so superb. And we should also be mindful so that those who contravene some of this order should also have a way of punishment. What makes the country to look like this is that people go away free of charge when they defraud.
Other factors include political interference, corruption, lack of political will, inadequate funding, and systematic issues within the electoral process. Comprehensive reforms increase collaboration between federal and state governments, and active public participation are essential to achieving true democracy at the grassroots level. For Dateline 360, Gabriel Amunike.
Well, our fingers are crossed, awaiting the positive outcomes of steps already being taken to restore and revive the autonomy of local governments, as we also have great expectation for them in terms of performance. With that, we draw the curtains on today's episode. See you same time next week for a fresh and more interesting package.